Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today I've been thinking about Omnimon Zwart. I just think he's cool, and I decided I wanted to build a new deck that uses Omnimon Zwart as kind of the focal point. And to be entirely honest with you, there are no cards from BT23 in this deck, so it's not strictly a BT23 deck profile, but it does have cards from EX10, and it is really fun, and I've been enjoying it a lot. So I wanted to share it with you guys. So hopefully somebody else who enjoys Omnimon Zwart can give it a play and get some enjoyment out of it. So starting with our eggs, 4 copies of Dorimon from BT16. All turns once per turn when another Digimon with blocker is deleted to gain a memory. We're going to get a good bit of mileage out of this with our blocker Commandramons, along with some other collision shenanigans we're going to run. You can see oh, you can't see him behind my webcam, so that'll be a surprise for later. But we are going to use collision to get memory off of the blocker. We are running 4 copies of the BT14 Commandramon. We are running a D-Brigade kind of level 3 through 5.5 suite because I want the protection effect. Omnimon Zwart is really fragile. He costs a lot of memory to evo into, and if the opponent just deletes him, well, you lose a 6 memory investment. So in my mind, this is a good way to put protection on Omnimon Zwart and put the opponent in a position where they have to either trim your board down and then get rid of him, or just deal with the fact that we are going to exploit the card later. On play, we reveal top 5, add a card with D-Brigade or Digipolice among them to the hand, return rest top or bottom of the deck. This is actually really good on play too, because we don't have to force the cards to bottom deck. If you flip top 5 and there's a bunch of stuff you need, you can reorder the cards into whatever order you want. Protection effect, we talked about it before, but that's the inheritable. You can delete one of your other Digimon with D-Brigade to prevent your Digimon from leaving whenever it would leave the battle area other than by your effects. So really, really good protection effect on this card. We have 3 copies of the BT16 Commandramon. All turns, all of your other Digimon with the D-Brigade or Digipolice trait gain 1k DP. The inheritable says the same thing. Just a good way to get your Commandramons and other Digipolice cards nice and big so they don't die on the swing. And then we do have 4 copies of the BT4 Commandramon. On deletion, reveal top 3. You may play a Commandramon among them without paying the cost. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So that's going to be nice hitting all of your Commandramons when this does swing in and die. Or if we delete it to use it for protection effect, then we still get the on deletion. We can replace it with another body. 2 copies of the blocker Commandramon. This is just, in my mind, the best extra Commandramon to fill our need for rookies with. It does come up sometimes as a nice blocker, but for the most part, it is just another body. For the level 4s in this deck, I am on 4 copies of Numemon from BT14. You know I love this card. When I play D-Brigade, on play, when Digivolving, you can place a Satsuki from your hand as this Digimon's bottom source. One of your Digimon gains Rush for the turn, and it has blocker. So this just gets you tons and tons of resource accumulation for free. We can play this for free off of the Cargodramon effect, which is going to be awesome. I believe you can play this for free with the Hi-Commandramon effect as well. So there's lots of ways to play this out, tuck the Satsuki underneath, and get it for free, which is going to lead to lots of resource accumulation through the memory gain on Satsuki. It also adds the blocker inherit, which does come up sometimes as a nice little bonus. 4 copies of the Hi-Commandramon we talked about before. It doubles up on the protection inherit from the BT14 Commandramon, and then when attacking, we can reveal top 3 to play a card with D-Brigade or Digipolice trait with a cost of 3 or less among them without paying the cost. If we have Satsuki on board, we can mind link with the Hi-Commandramon, get a really safe attack in, as long as your opponent's not threatening a Blastace, and we get more bodies for our trouble. I am finishing off with 2 copies of Sealsdramon from BT16. On play, when devolving by returning 3 cards to the D-Brigade or Digipolice trait from your trash to the top of the deck. For the turn, this Digimon gains Rush and can't be blocked. This is a 2-fold effect that does 2 really nice things in our deck. First of all, this and the Numemon really apply some pressure from the fact that they can get Rush and just start swinging in when you play them out. So that does come up. Secondly, it does return cards from trash to top of deck. We do not have scrambles in this deck because deck space is really, really tight. So being able to fix your deck and stop yourself from decking out, which is always a tangible threat with D-Brigade, is really nice. The inherit here also doubles up on that 1k DP boost. We have 4 copies of the BT14 Cargodramon. On play, when Digivolving, reveal top 3, play a card with D-Brigade or Digipolice, and a play cost of 4 or less among them without paying the cost. Nice thing here is that can also play the Satsuki. And then all turns, when one of your other Digimon is deleted, reveal top 3, you can play a Commandramon among them without paying the cost, trash the rest. So more ways to play Commandramons. You can also hit the Hi-Commandramon with this because it is treated as Commandramon, which makes the protection effect really, really good in the stack because you can sack away any of your Commandramons to protect your stack with Cargodramon, and then you can replace it with an extra body. And then if you're sacking away this Commandramon, it is possible to replace 1 lost body with 2 extra Commandramons, and you are cooking when that happens. The other level 5 in this deck, 3 copies of the EX10 MetalGreymon. It does cost 4 to Evo. It is a little bit expensive. It has reboot on play. When Digivolving, give one of your Digimon, one of your opponent's Digimon collision, and start of your main phase, this Digimon attacks until their turn ends. And on the opponent's turn, when attack targets change, if this Digimon has Greymon in its name, trash your opponent's top security card. You might realize where we're going with this. This is a fantastic way for us to force the opponent into situations that give us Blast Ace triggers. And that inheritable here is actually my favorite reason to use this card over other attack enablers. First of all, Collision, going to synergize really well with the Dorimon egg. Basically, we force the opponent to attack, we can steal a memory back and force the opponent to play with less memory than they want to. Second of all, this inherit, we are going to run the BlackWarGreymon from EX10, so this is going to chip away at the opponent's security, which is actually a really nasty combo with this aggro package that we're running in general. So we're getting in for a lot of aggressive checks. We're forcing the opponent to swing into us, forcing them to lose security when we block or just when attack targets change in general. And this also does trigger on play. If you are familiar with Zwart, this is a nice 7 play cost body that we can play off of the Zwart, force the opponent to attack, and if we have Blast Ace in hand, then we get to Blast Ace. It's just a really, really nice combo. For the level 6s, we are talking about Blast Aces, so here they are. I am on 2 copies of ShadowSeraphimon Ace. Blocker on play when digivolving, D-Digivolve 3 on one of your opponent's Digimon, and then when attack targets change, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5k for the turn. We've talked about how D-Digivolve is definitely the strongest form of removal in this game, so I want to make sure that I have plenty of ways to get around bodies that would otherwise be really difficult to remove. I find ShadowSeraphimon fills that need for me extremely well, especially in my local play group. So if there's a card that fits better in this slot, I think that is very reasonable to use over this card. I do think, however, the 4 copies of BlackWarGreymon Ace are mandatory. Raid, Reboot, Blocker, on play when digivolving, delete one of your opponent's play cost 7 or lower Digimon or Tamers. Also, when you play this off of Zwart, it's really common for you just nail the opponent's Tamers and like destroy all their resource generation off this card. All turns, while your opponent has a Digimon with 13k DP or more, your opponent's Digimon's effects don't affect this Digimon, and it gets 3k DP. That's going to be really, really nice. When you hit a Zwart that floats back a ShadowSeraphimon Ace, a BlackWarGreymon Ace, your opponent is just going to have a really, really bad time. It is quite difficult to clear, especially when you have the protection effects underneath this Omnimon Zwart. And if they are dealing with your bodies, trying to trim down your board, and now they have to deal with the Zwart. If they don't actually manage to get rid of it, we are packing the Omnimon Alter B. So this can digivolve on top of any card that is level 7 with Omnimon in name for a cost of 2. So if the opponent does not deal with our Zwart, we go into Alter B. When digivolving, you D-Digivolve 3 on one of your opponent's Digimon, then choose any number of your opponent's Digimon so that their play cost total is up to 6 and delete them. So the D-Digivolve effect, again, being doubled up on, I think it's really strong, and then more removal after we D-Digivolve is extremely powerful. When attacking, we can trash up to 3 level 6 or higher cards in this Digimon sources, and then among your opponent's Digimon and Tamers, you delete one with the lowest play cost for each card trashed. If you trash 3 cards, trash the top 2 cards of your opponent's security stack. That will never happen. More often than not, you're going to trash 1 card with this effect. You're just going to ditch the Zwart because you do not want to trigger the overflows from having this in your stack. We are running 3 copies of the Omnimon Zwart. The whole reason I wanted to build this deck is because I like playing this card, and I like fun ways to play this card. So he is a 6 cost Evo. Keep that in mind. That's why we care so much about the Satsuki resource generation, because we want to be able to make sure that we're not passing the opponent at like 4 memory. When digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. Then you may play 2 black and or purple Digimon cards with play cost of 8 or less from your trash without paying their cost. You will notice that all of our Blast Aces are 7 cost. So we are looking to play back 2 Blast Aces, MetalGreymon, Cargodramon. Basically, any of those 4 cards are awesome targets for this to go off. It's going to give you a board that is really, really difficult for the opponent to deal with. When attacking, you can return a level 6 Digimon card in this Digimon sources to its owner's hand to delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with a play cost of 12 or less. We do not do this very often. You are only doing this if you can trade the ace in your sources for an ace on the opponent's board so that the overflows cancel out, or trade up into a level 7 ace. But more often than not, you're leaving your level 6 Blast Ace tucked underneath this bad boy because you do not want to trigger your own overflow. For our options, 4 copies of defense training. I thought about memory boost in this slot, but it is a little bit tricky because we do not want to search deeper and then mill away the Omnimon Zwarts, despite the fact that the memory gain is more effective for helping you keep turn off of the Evo. I find that just gambling on the Dig 2 and then being able to Evo into your 3 through 5 suite is usually more than effective enough to get you where you need to go. I do have 3 copies of Satsuki. Start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon gain and memory, that's what we're talking about with resource accumulation. We want to get these on board as fast as possible and as many as we can, and then we can mind link to something with Numemon or Digipolice trait, and this will give it jamming reboot. For my memory setter of choice, I did choose Tai Kamiya from ST15. It is a mem setter, and when attack targets switch, you can suspend this tamer to draw 1 and give one of your Digimon 2k DP until the end of turn. This pairs really, really nicely with the EX10 BlackWarGreymon, especially when the opponent has a 13k or more body, which is really, really common nowadays. This guy then becomes a 15k off his own effect, 17k off the Tai Kamiya, and he will be a 17k raid reboot blocker that is unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects. God forbid you hit 2 of these off an Omnimon Zwart and the opponent has to deal with 2 of these bad boys, and you just swing into his security and leave his 13k body, and this bad boy is just chilling there, unaffected by things. Good lord. it is a mess to deal with. The other thing I really like about this is it just says when attack targets are switched. So if the opponent is swinging with their collision body off of like the MetalGreymon, and then you are forced to block, you can then use the Tai Kamiya to pump your body that is designated as a blocker. So lots of utility for this card, and I really like it. So that is what I'm doing with Omnimon Zwart in BT23. I know there's other things that you can do with this card in BT23, like you can run Shakomon DNA, and you can run a CS-based Omnimon Zwart deck, but this is what I found most fun, despite the fact that it's not running any of the new cards. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That's going to be it for this video. Have a great day. Thank you to our channel members for supporting this channel. It's people like Langlong, Big Z11, Coffee Deus, and DigiDane who make videos like this possible.